Stephen A. is doing the Stephen A. thing again.
I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican. What? How can he say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised. I'm tired of that. What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
In an interview with Cam Newton, he echoed a line he stated many years back.
What I dream is that for one election, just one, every black person in America vote Republican.
And that was also in the same era where he said this.
These are common sense things.
Okay, answer this question.
Sure.
Name one Republican presidential candidate you would vote for over Barack Obama.
I don't want to say over.
He's speechless.
I'm never speechless. I will say this, though. I would strongly consider Mitt Romney for one reason and one reason only. The man knows how to make money.
But I think there is so much in the vote Republican once line. First off, we're in 2026, all right? This is the second Trump administration where this happened.
Today, in a 6-3 decision along partisan lines, the court gutted a key provision of the 1965 Voting Rights Act, making it easier for Republicans to gerrymander congressional maps in ways that could disenfranchise black voters. The 2020 census found that about 1/3 of the population of Louisiana was black. But when the largely white Republican majority in the Louisiana state legislature used that data to make new congressional maps, guess what? They drew 5 majority white districts and just 1 majority black district. So even though black voters made up 1/3 of the population in the state, they were likely only able to elect 1/6 of its representatives.
Imagine saying vote Republican when the leader of the party and the most powerful voice in politics posts a racist meme depicting former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes. Imagine telling someone to vote Republican when this happens.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food. The fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs.
People are not this dumb to fall for this.
Tell me you see how we use black jobs as a pejorative and black people as political fodder. When Donald Trump says black jobs, he's not talking about high-skilled, high-paying jobs. Hell no. He's talking about low-skilled, low-paying jobs because that is how he sees the black American political class. He's saying to black America, see those people coming from over the border? They're here to take your job, so you better put up and fight for it. And we, white America, we're not the enemy. We want you to keep what you have. But you need to fight with them because they are the enemy. He wants black Americans to fight migrants over the crumbs that white America throws them under the table. We've seen this before. There's nothing new under the sun with white supremacy.
Via the NAACP, there is no such thing as a black job. Provided the opportunity, black Americans excel across industries and professions. We need candidates who are going to prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion, not attempt to mischaracterize black workers as anything but American workers. And of course, what have they done? Roll back DEI initiatives. Also, remember when the white South Africans came over because of Donald Trump?
Now, there's an act passed by Congress called the Refugee Act, which allows for as many as 125,000 refugees in this fiscal year. People who can prove they're being persecuted or fear persecution because of race or religion or political beliefs. And nowhere near that number has been allowed in by the time Mr. Trump took office and shut it all down. But just a few weeks later, President Trump announced that he was making an exception, and not only that, he would expedite the processing of refugee claims by one group of people from Africa. Now, you might think it's some women and children who've been maybe sexually assaulted in the conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a place that's seen fighting for decades. But President Trump hasn't allowed refugees from there here, nor from Sudan, where there's been terrible fighting. The only Africans President Trump has paved a quick path for are these South Africans. And yes, they are white. They are Afrikaners, descendants of Dutch settlers to South Africa.
And why do they do this? Take the president's words.
We suspended all refugee resettlement except for persecuted South Africans. They're being persecuted. In South Africa, there's a very horrible thing going on in South Africa. It's a genocide. It's a horrible thing. And we made it possible for these people to come into our country. They kill people if they're white, if you're a white person.
Is this true? No, of course it is not. Not a single political party in the country said it was fact. The BBC wrote, in fact, Trump's claim was described as nonsense by John Steenhuisen, the leader of South Africa's second biggest party, the Democratic Alliance, and the agriculture minister in the coalition government led by Ramaphosa. Nonetheless, what's the impact?
White supremacy doesn't make economic sense.
Speaking of South Africa, imagine saying, vote for the guy who was in bed with Republicans that funnels money to their causes for defense contracts, that gave a literal double Sieg Heil at the inauguration. The same dude who would go on to write, whites are a rapidly dying minority on the platform he purchased. Or there has been unrelenting hate and poisonous propaganda in the West against anyone white, straight, or male over the past decade or more. No more guilt trips, enough. Imagine telling someone that they should vote for Republicans when MAGA's chief meets with Nick Fuentes, a Holocaust denier who has said this in part.
I believe that organized Jewry is extremely influential in the United States. We need to go back to burning women alive more. You know, these left-wing people, in their heart of hearts, they know they're wrong because they know that black people are violent. Hitler was a German statesman. You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, to drink out of a different water fountain. Big deal. Don't tell me they're entitled to their religion. If their religion involves my Lord in hell, then they can get out.
Former ESPN co-worker Jamil Hill also checked Stephen A.
It was the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It was the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And it was the Fair Housing Act as well. These were all core centerpiece pieces of legislation that passed under Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was a white Southern Democrat. So when you use the terminology give, you make it seem like that vote wasn't earned.
For the black people, black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate.
The vote was earned because the Democrats delivered the pieces of legislation that were going to improve black life. Black people didn't give Democrats anything. The Democrats had to earn black people's vote through those pieces of legislation that I mentioned.
Imagine telling someone to vote Republican when this is the guy calling the shots on immigration.
President Trump's speechwriter and architect of the administration's anti-immigration policies, Stephen Miller, sent at least 900 emails to editors at the far-right news site Breitbart between 2015 and 2016. In the emails, 80% of which relate to the themes of race or immigration, Miller sometimes pitched stories to McHugh, and she sometimes sought out his opinion regarding the direction of her reporting. In the mountain of emails, Miller shared links from white nationalist sites. He plugged The Camp of the Saints, a story about the Great Replacement myth. He pitched a story about how Amazon pulled Confederate merchandise down but still sold, quote, commie flags in the wake of the Charleston church shooting, in which 9 black churchgoers were murdered by a white supremacist. Miller wrote, quote, "Have you thought about going to Amazon and finding the commie flags and then doing a story on that? It's not a coincidence that in the midst of pushing the U.S.-ending trade deal, we're seeing a historic artifact of real America be demonized and destroyed."
By 14, Miller was a cultural warrior with a love for Star Trek. A friend and fellow Trekkie said Miller called him to break off their friendship. "I can't be your friend anymore because you are Latino," he said. Miller continued his war against minorities throughout high school. He wrote columns attacking Hispanic students for not speaking English.
Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash when we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it for us?
Imagine telling someone to vote for the party that is putting up a guy for HHS secretary when dude holds no medical degree whatsoever and makes unscientific remarks about black people's immune systems and other false medical claims. For instance, in an interview in 2021, RFK proposed that black folks should follow a different vaccine schedule because their immune systems are stronger than white people's, echoing a racist medical trope that suggests black folks are biologically different from others. Take it from someone who worked a Trump event and even said this.
I was an AV tech and I started working for this company, and that company just so happened to be setting up for Trump's rally. Bro, we get out that van and I got hit with an ocean of people screaming the N-word with the hard R, like a chant. And I was just like, and I guess this brother, he looked at me because he knew I was younger, and he was like, "Hey, we got a job to do." And that like shook me back to reality. It was so loud in that hangar when it was chanting at us. Like sometimes when it's too quiet in like a space or whatever, I'll hear it in the back of my head. At 23, 24 years old, right then, I knew, never mind all like the racist encounters that I had when I was younger, I knew right then you wouldn't be able to get me to shut up about this situation that we have here. You'll never be able to get me to shut up about being black. Never.
Let's also remember Trump did especially well with white people who express sexist views about women and who deny racism exists. That's via Brookings, another very important point. There is a clear correlation between Trump campaign events and incidents of prejudiced violence. FBI data show that since Trump's election, there has been an anomalous spike in hate crimes concentrated in counties where Trump won by large margins. It was the second largest uptick in hate crimes in the 25 years for which data are available, second only to the spike after 9/11. Center for Progressive Reform would add, attempts by Trump to freeze federal funding, close federal agencies, curb the rights of workers, and dismiss federal workers through illegal means and by Republicans using budget reconciliation to cut federal funding for Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, food assistance, and public ed, continue a shameful tradition in American history of systematically dehumanizing, disenfranchising, and stealing from black Americans. I will also say this. I am not someone who's going to tell you that the Democrats are the savior for America, because they are not. We are operating within a system that is flawed, where two major parties have complete control over the electorate. That is not the way that I want it to go. And for example, if Stephen A. were to say, you know what we should do? Instead of it being Democrat and Republican, we should unite and create a working class party. I'd be all for it. You know what we should do? We should unite as people, because the government should represent people, not profits. I would be all for it. But this man is a capitalist. This is a man who has said over and over again that he is very proud of what he has done, the way that he has degraded athletes, the way that he has degraded women who are married to athletes, the way that he has degraded even the person who was smacked by Ray Rice, and those within his family who he says warns them not to provoke men. We have seen who this man is. We have seen what he stands for. So am I shocked that he's having buyer's remorse for voting for Kamala Harris and saying that he would rather have Trump? No, I'm not surprised at all, because he, like Trump, represent the same thing. No matter what, at the end of the day, get yours by any means necessary. I am not trying to help out anybody. I'm trying to help out myself first. And that is the exact American selfish mindset that we need to rid ourselves of.